Good evening. Reverend Michael McMorrow coming to you from the sanctuary of the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California, a place where we welcome all who practice their beliefs and faith and love. And it's the eve before St. Patrick's Day, which means this may be the last sober breath some of you will be taking for the next 12 hours. So enjoy it. So we're getting together here. Of course, we've had some technical difficulties, so we're going to just get right into our program this evening. But I love having you with us. And so let's just begin by taking a deep conscious breath and releasing. And in that release, we're just going to allow ourselves to surrender to this moment, this eternal now moment, as we recognize and know together that there is only one thing going on here, God, and nothing else. That there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one infinite intelligence. It is the wellspring of love itself. That's both expressing in, through, and as all of life, in, through, and as our life. And so we take this moment to remember this truth about ourselves and to allow ourselves to just fall into the Spirit, fall into the indwelling Spirit. And in this way, we are just allowing and claiming, I'm claiming for each one here, that we are open and receptive to have an experience of this meditation time that is absolutely perfect and exactly what it's supposed to be. That we're releasing, even as we set an intention for this time together this evening, we're releasing any attachment to what that's supposed to look like. And just allowing ourselves to be. Following the breath and staying open to God's living Spirit and truth by means of this moment. So we take a deep breath. Just release this, all our cares, concerns, intentions for this evening. We're releasing it to that aspect of the mind of the divine itself, expressing His unconditional love as the law of its own being. Just letting it all be so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So I just realized I went right through the flames of faith, but that's okay because we're not live anyway. So you know what? Let's do something a little different. Let's just talk about meditation, and we'll just get right into it tonight. And you can observe our flames of faith at any other posting that you see on our YouTube channel. So, it's been said that prayer is talking to God, meditation is listening to the divine as you understand that to be. The way that I've learned to do that is to simply follow the breath. There are as many ways to meditate as there are human beings. So a Zen method, you might count to 10 and then backwards to 10. But the whole idea is just to release the chatter of mind. And of course, there's no other way to really think thoughts than to try not to think thoughts, which is the kind of the funny thing about meditation. So all we're going to do is we're just going to follow the breath. We're going to be paying attention to the movement of the breath in the nostril first on the inhale and then on the exhale. And you'll see with each exhale, you'll find yourself releasing a little more, a little more, a little more. And if you find yourself hooked by a thought, that happens. Sometimes it happens and we're not even really aware that we're doing it. When we have that realization, we just acknowledge, thinking, and then you just take a deep breath and go back to following the breath. And as you do that with practice, you'll see you'll gain some space between those thoughts. And with practice, you will hit a state of being that is different than your regular conscious state, and that's the meditative state. Okay, so that's where we're headed. So let's take a deep conscious breath together. And just a release. I like to feel the release, and then in that release, I just like to let the body just relax, lower the shoulders, and feel the surrender. And now we're just bringing our attention to the movement of the breath in the nostril. And we're going to avoid any scratching or any of that. Right? So if you find you have an itch, see if you can't just breathe into it and then use that to go deeper. So we're using sensation to still the mind. And then I'm going to go ahead and ask Renzen to bring up our Om and Bros, just so you have something to hear. Following the breath, and your tummy is just rising and falling naturally. So you're releasing that tension that you may use to hold your waist tight. Just release all that. Just scan the body, and if you find, just in a methodical way, starting at your feet, up the leg, into the thighs. And if you find a place that has tension, you just take a deep breath. And on the release, you'll find you can release that tension. And go back to the breath. Some people may use mantras, so you can say on the in-breath, God is, and on the exhale, all there is. So now we're going to take a deep breath, and on the release, we're going to just move into the silence for about 15 minutes. Taking a deep breath and releasing. staying with the breath. We're going to work with this space of peace and serenity that we created here. Know with me that there is this flame of the divine in our heart center, and so with each breath we are fanning that flame. That this flame is growing in brightness and radiance. We are breathing in the life of the divine, that it is breathing us. And that is fanning this flame of the divine, enlightening us, enlightening our heart with love. With each in-breath, it continues to expand. That we have this ball of light and love at our heart center. It continues to expand as we continue to breathe with the infinitude of the divine, so that this light now is reaching beyond our body, torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom. Breathing in light and exhaling love. We are now in the overflow of light and love. The overflow of the divine, enlightening every aspect of our heart, of our body, of our mind, of the room in which we are sitting in. That we are knowing this energetic of life and love is reaching out even to anyone who may be listening. Because we are creating this energetic of the overflow of life and love. So from this place of conscious union with the light and life of the divine, we are knowing for ourselves that every atom, every molecule, every cell, every muscle, every organ, every bone, every neuron, all the various physical systems within our biological body are aligning with a pattern of perfection that are energized by the light and love of the living Spirit right now. That we feel an openness in our heart. That we feel an energetic in the body temple, in this conscious union with the divine. That our mind is open and receptive to new, creative, dynamic ideas, ways of thinking that are propelled by love, received in love. That we are intuitively guided now into ways of thinking where love and kindness is a divine impulse that is propelling our life, pulling our life into a vision for our life that is most effective, creative, powerful, as the infinite power and presence of the divine expressing as our life. So from this place divine fortitude and integration, and we are knowing within the outer world, within our own relationships, we're knowing peace and serenity, love, connectedness within our communities, whether they're spiritual communities or the companies in which we work in, the towns and cities in which we live, the state, our nation, our hemisphere, our planet, that we are knowing peace and serenity for world leaders in this moment. As we raise all the world leaders involved in conflict of any kind, know that they are resonating and being activated even now by an infinite power and presence that places loving kindness, compassion, mutual respect for all life. Specifically in this area of Ukraine, or the suffering going on there, for the suffering going on anywhere on the planet. May all beings be free. May all beings know peace. May all beings be happy. So we take a deep breath and release this knowing of peace within ourselves, within our life, within the life of all, within the life of our planet, within the life of the universe. Releasing all of it now to that aspect of the mind of the divine, expressing as unconditional love, as the law of its own being, that place that knows only to say yes, my beloved, yes. In you I am well pleased. So we take a breath here and release in gratitude, remembering the many blessings in our life, those large and small, and we are releasing from this place of gratitude with confidence, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. And so as we move through the rest of this evening, we find our way home safely, arriving safely and in good order, that we hit the pillow tonight, drifting off easily to sleep, a sleep that is deep and restful, full of sweet dreams, that we awaken feeling rested, revitalized, full of vim and vigor, and excitement for the day to be. One more breath here. And release, knowing it's done, knowing it's so. And let's know this together by simply saying, and so it is. Amen. So if it happens to be your first time doing any kind of meditation, that last bit was what we call a mind treatment, where we are knowing from this place, so in the meditative state, I'm sure you've felt a sense of peace and serenity, maybe even connectedness, And when we know this sense of connectedness with the divine, knowing that we are one with the Spirit, then we are speaking our word with confidence, knowing that our word is affecting and resonating with a divine mind that is everywhere present, that cannot help, that knows only to express that which we speak to it, the truth we speak into it. So, if this sounds interesting to you and you'd like to learn more, join us on Sundays at 9 and 10:30, either here in the sanctuary here in Granada Hills, or online at 10:30. You can catch us on the YouTube channel. You can find us on any Centers for Spiritual Living, or also the Agape International Spiritual Center with the dynamic Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith and friends. So you have many options. So change your thinking, change your life. So welcome to a new way of being, and thank you for joining us tonight. Peace and blessings. Have a great rest of the week.